Hi, my name is Ryan, and I'm one of many product managers here at Franklin Sports that helped engineer and design this Franklin Sports Pro Kick foosball table. Setting up some of these larger table games can sometimes be a little bit challenging, so I'm here today to help simplify the process for you. Let's get started. When installing your Franklin Sports foosball table, the first step is to lay out all of the components and match them up with the instruction manual. This ensures that you have everything you need to start the build. After you've verified you have all the parts, it's time to begin the assembly process. The first step is to lay out parts 2 and 2 of part 1s. You're basically creating the base for your foosball table, so it's very important you get this step right. What you want to do with 2 of part 1s is line them up on the side of part 2. It's important to know that the grooves of part 1 should be facing inward towards each other. You also want to make sure that you have part 2 facing the right way. So you need to make sure that the hole in the center is closer to the ground, as opposed to if you had it the wrong way, it's faced towards the air more. Once you've verified this is all set, take part 8, put it through part 9, and insert through part 2 into part 1. A common mistake that occurs is over-tightening the bolts going through part 2 into part 1. Over-tightening can lead to joints that are not correctly put together. What happens is you have now offset your grooves that the play surface is supposed to slide through. To fix this, all you'll need to do is go back and unscrew the bolts that go into part 2 to part 1, loosen them up, and then adjust the joint again. And now you'll see that the slots now line up and you're ready to slide the play surface through. The next step is to slide part 4, the play surface, through the grooves on parts 1 on the left and 1 on the right. You want to make sure that the play surface of part 4 is facing downward, so you just see the brown when you're sliding it down here. It's important that you know that the end may not go through the grooves into part 2. In order to fix this, simply go down to the end, push up the play surface a little bit to make it go through the grooves, then you're good to install this side of the table. After you have your base assembled, the next step is to install the support braces. This assures that the game is tightly put together as well as gives support to the play surface. What you want to do is take part number 3 and put them both in the center like this. You want to then take 4 part number 14s and install 2 on each side. Once these are secure, you now have your base. The next step is to install the legs to the table. You do this using 3 bolts per leg. What you want to do is make sure you review your L-style leg and make sure that the small piece is facing inward towards the other leg. Then you use your 3 bolts per leg, put them through washers, and install all 4 legs to the table. After the base and the legs are assembled, the next step is extremely simple. All you need to do is install the leg levelers. These leg levelers simply go on the tops of the legs and you just screw them on. These are used in order to stabilize your table during play. So if one side seems a little bit higher than the other, all you need to do is unscrew these a couple times and it evens out your playing surface. After you've installed the legs, the next step is to attach the end apron. You'll want to note that there's 2 sides to this end apron. There's a matte black side and then there's a shiny glossy black side. You want to make sure that the shiny glossy outside is facing towards the end of each side of the table. So for instance, this glossy side will be facing towards this way. That glossy side will be facing that way. You then take these, you locate the pilot holes that have been pre-drilled on these legs, and then you end up attaching the end apron to these legs using 4 screws for each side. The next step after you flip the table is installing the corner protectors. You'll notice that there's 3 pre-drilled holes in each corner protector. What you want to do is put this on the corner. You'll notice that one area is about 1/2 inch longer than the other 2 spots here. So you'll note that you're going to have to use 2 different types of screws to install this corner protector to the table. You're going to use 1 long screw, which attaches through the first hole that's closer to you, and then you'll use 2 shorter screws for the other 2 holes. Repeat on the other 3 corners, and your corner protectors have been installed. The most important part of setting up your Franklin Sports foosball table is making sure that the rods are set up properly on the table. Before installing the rods to the table, please carefully review this diagram. To assure that you install these rods properly on the table, the easiest way to go about this is to lay all the rods on top of the table first. What you want to make sure is that you match up the holes on each rod with what's in your instruction manual, so that you know the equal amount of players per holes in the rod is correct. You also want to make sure that there's a hole on the correct side of the table where the handles are going to later go. When installing the parts onto the rods, you want to note that there's a bumper, a washer, then you slide on all the players, then you slide on another washer and another bumper, and complete by sliding through the second hole. Space out all the players accordingly to know that you've done it correctly. The easiest way to attach each player is to line up the back of the player with the hole, then just insert the bolt into the hole, flip the player over, and make sure that he's still lined up with the hole. Slide the bolt through the chest of the player, and then just tighten accordingly with your tool. To attach the handles to each rod, simply grab the rod and twist the handle onto the pole. Once the handle goes over top of each hole on each designated pole, they're secure. After the 8 handles have been installed, the next step is to install the end caps on the ends of each rod. This ensures that the rods are complete on the table. I hope this instructional video for the Franklin Sports Pro Kick foosball table helps simplify the process for you. Please check us out at franklinsports.com for all your sporting goods needs.